What if I told you one stock that Wall Street almost buried could still become one of the biggest comeback stories by 2030? Sounds impossible, right? Because when people hear the name Plug today, they don't think about opportunity anymore. They think about pain. A stock that collapsed, a company burning cash, a clean energy dream that turned into a nightmare for thousands of investors. And honestly, I understand why people feel that way. This stock absolutely crashed. People bought near the highs thinking hydrogen would change the world overnight. Then everything changed. Interest rates went up. Growth stocks started collapsing. Investors stopped caring about future potential. Suddenly, everyone wanted profits, real profits, and Plug Power had a massive problem. The company kept losing money. Fear entered the market fast. And once fear takes control, stocks can fall way harder than anyone expects. That's exactly what happened here. Some investors lost almost everything. Social media turned toxic. One side screamed, "This company is dead." The other side screamed, "This is the buying opportunity of a lifetime." And honestly, both sides still exist today. But here's what caught my attention. Despite all the negativity, Plug Power is still standing, still building, still expanding projects, still fighting to survive in one of the toughest industries on earth. And sometimes, the market creates opportunity inside complete chaos. Now listen carefully. I'm not saying this stock is safe, because it isn't. Plug Power is extremely risky, but risky stocks are usually where massive returns come from if the story changes. And that's the big question here. Can Plug Power survive long enough to shock everybody by 2030? Because if hydrogen adoption explodes globally, this stock could look unbelievably cheap in hindsight. And trust me, the deeper you go into this story, the more interesting it becomes. Now, before we talk about the future, you need to understand why investors still care about Plug Power after such a brutal collapse. The answer is simple. Hydrogen. Most people don't fully understand how important hydrogen could become over the next decade. See, electric batteries are powerful, but batteries alone cannot solve every energy problem. Heavy trucks, factories, shipping systems, warehouses, industrial machinery, many industries need energy solutions that batteries struggle to handle efficiently. That's where hydrogen fuel cells enter the conversation. And this is exactly the market Plug Power wants to dominate. The company is building hydrogen infrastructure. They're producing hydrogen systems. They're trying to create an entire clean energy ecosystem around hydrogen technology. Now here's where things get complicated. The vision sounds exciting. The problem is execution. Plug Power burns huge amounts of cash, and Wall Street hates companies that continuously lose money during difficult economic conditions, especially now. A few years ago, investors were throwing money into anything related to green energy. Nobody cared about profitability. Everybody only cared about hype. But markets changed. Now investors want discipline, strong balance sheets, better cash flow, real business stability. And Plug Power has struggled badly in those areas. That's why fear exploded around this stock. Some investors genuinely think bankruptcy risks are real. And honestly, that fear cannot be ignored. Because timing matters in business. A company can have the right idea and still fail if it runs out of money too early. That's the biggest battle Plug Power faces today. Survival. Not domination. Survival. But here's what makes this story fascinating. If the company survives, the upside could be enormous because the market rewards survivors, not perfection, survivors. And if hydrogen demand accelerates globally by 2030, investors may suddenly look at Plug Power very differently. That's why this stock still attracts attention despite all the negativity surrounding it. Now let me tell you something most beginner investors never understand. The stock market moves emotionally. When everyone is excited, stocks become overpriced. When everyone is terrified, stocks sometimes become undervalued. And right now, fear around Plug Power is massive. Almost nobody believes in this company anymore. And sometimes, that's exactly when opportunities quietly begin forming. Now, I'm not saying Plug Power is guaranteed to recover. Nobody knows that. This stock could absolutely continue struggling. That's why I would never tell someone to go all in on a company like this. That's gambling. But as a speculative long-term position, I understand why some investors are interested, because if this company improves execution even slightly, market sentiment could change fast. One positive earnings surprise, one major government hydrogen announcement, one breakthrough partnership, and suddenly investors start paying attention again. That's how Wall Street works. The crowd ignores something, until suddenly everybody wants it again. And by then, the easy money is usually gone. Now, personally, I think Plug Power is one of the most dangerous, but fascinating stocks in the clean energy market today. It could fail completely, or it could become one of those comeback stories people talk about for years. And honestly, that uncertainty is exactly why investors keep watching it. Now imagine this scenario for a second. It's 2030. Hydrogen infrastructure expands globally, clean energy demand increases, governments push harder toward alternative fuels, and Plug Power survives long enough to establish itself in that future. If that happens, today's prices could eventually look tiny. But again, that future is not guaranteed. And that's the key thing every investor must understand. High reward usually comes with high uncertainty. That's why emotional investing destroys people. Never blindly follow hype. Not from YouTubers, not from social media, not from random influencers pretending to be experts. Do your own research, understand the risks, and never invest money you cannot afford to lose into speculative stocks like this. Because the stock market can create life-changing wealth, but it can also destroy emotional investors very quickly. Now I want your opinion. Do you think Plug Power is a hidden millionaire maker stock for 2030? Or just another clean energy trap waiting to disappoint investors again? Comment below, and if you enjoyed this deep dive stock analysis, subscribe right now, because the next stock we cover might be even crazier than this one.